Operator bands rolling out. Furia versus CAG. Map number 1, Cafe.
Old habits die hard. Furia taking out a shield here on Cafe. It'll be Blitz, and of course CAG have the original shield main, Anaton, who leads this team as their captain in IGL. One of the most experienced players in Japan. Everybody knows who he is, and everybody knows what he does. Furia not excluded from that. For their part, CAG will take out Dokkaebi, which is still an extremely powerful operator. CAG banned a bunch of different ops on this map. Historically, they've actually banned a bit of Blackbeard here as well, but I think they're going to want to lean into the shield meta quite a bit on this map, so it's not surprising to me they're going to leave one of those up. Could see in a zombie ban here. That's been common for CAG, and it's an extremely powerful operator, and it will be our third operator taken off of the board for this first map on the BO3, and then Furia have a couple options. I could see a Valk. I think a Mira would make a lot of sense as well for them to take out of the pool. Some good ops here for CAG for sure, and it will be the Valk.
Valkyrie stronger on the maps that have more open spaces. Think about Bank, probably her best map.
Yeah, great map.
In terms of gaining information, maybe not her best map in the way that teams want to play her. If there's any region that knows Valkyrie, it's Brazil. So Furia opting to remove her from play tells you all you need to know about how they're going to go about their defenses. And more importantly, what they think CAG would rely upon when they get to be defenders. CAG starting on attack as it is their map. Furia will go on what we presume to be the better side here on Cafe, but you did say earlier that sometimes teams want to get the hard part out of the way. Furia is a team that is no stranger to adversity. Maybe they, just like you said, seem to think this is the harder side.
And in the map bans, I told you about how good CAG have been on this map, 3-0 over the course of the offseason. I didn't mention Furia's record, but it's a little bit frightening if you're a fan of the Japanese team. In the last 8 months, Furia are 6-1 on Cafe. They have been pretty dominant here as well. That's 7 plays in 8 months, and they've only lost it once. So you do expect Furia to be coming out of the gates swinging in this matchup. It's safe to say if Furia do lose this series somehow to CAG, they are in big trouble, as this is thought to be the group of death where every team is vying for first, perhaps with the exception of the team in blue on our screens right now. But again, games aren't played on paper. We have yet to see anything as possible in Rainbow Six Siege. We'll start on the top floor for CAG versus Furia. Very kind of anti-nade lineup being brought by Furia. Of course, we've got the Jaeger-Wamai combo. Kind of fallen off in the meta in recent years, but you do see it still on Cafe and Chalet every now and again, so not hugely surprising to hold down that pixel part of the map. And in the meantime, CAG have put Sheeran Echo on the Collie. One of the least played operators in Rainbow Six Siege. I remember BDS used to play Collie on this bomb site years ago, back when they had their old lineup with like Alems and Renshiro. So, be interesting to see if CAG can take a bit of inspiration from that, or if they're going to do their own thing with this kind of unorthodox operator.
It's a great time. Good old BDS roster.
Oh, yeah. Didn't win as much as the new one.
No, the new roster's objectively better.
Yeah.
It's still a good time.
Still a good time. Still a good team. And Blackray, a good shot to take down our first player in the server. Nade will be removed as the opening death.
Anaton now taking some damage. The pitter-patter of JV92's Velopox on an operator we don't see much these days. Jaeger running underneath that new hatch over towards Humidor. 2 players from CAG vanquished from the server. Lost the only shield on CAG. Also lost the explosives of Flores. Kali is a bit unorthodox. In fact, most of his lineup tends to be operators we don't see with that much frequency. Brava, Flores, and Kali are 3 operators rather that their pick rates historically have been quite low.
Certainly, they're not the most generalist operators, right? They have their niche, but they can still be quite strong. Bladebox is a machine. He's going to get 3 kills this round, set up for the 4th as well, leaving just the Collie. We'll get a trade out on Repel into KZ, but in a 1v2, this bolt-action rifle is not the most ideal of weapons.
Oh, so instead, pull out the SMG. It's an excellent sidearm, as we tend to see on those SAS operators that can run the SMG-11, or even the Korean operators that run the SMG-12. +1. Nico. Roach walk his way up. Firing a bit early. Herds just needs to sit in that back bar and wait as JV92 might have the cross. Unsure All that matters is that Herds is prepared and waiting. Nice easy play. Despite surrendering the first pick to Black Ray, it's Felipox on the flank. Gun down 2 members of CAG, and ultimately tip those dominoes, resulted in Furia winning the round.
That's a bit of a winnable 1v2. The 2 players on Furia were somewhat isolated, playing very far from each other. Probably wasn't going to be a super easy trade, but regardless, it doesn't matter when you lose the fights. And I gotta say, Felipox looked like he came out of nowhere to kill those first 2 players. He certainly shocked Anatson and the rest of CAG. It's going to be really important for Furia throughout this game to get a handle on Anatson. Again, one of the most consistent shield players in the entire world. He was playing it before it was cool. You're going to see him play a lot of shields. And in fact, back in the last chance qualifier to get to this event, Anatson played more than 50% of all rounds on a shield operator, either Blackbeard, Monty, or Blitz. Blitz banned out here, but the other 2 absolutely available for him. Funny enough, he actually had an even 50-50 win rate when he was on those shields. When Anatson had a gun in his hand, he played 17 rounds. He only lost 4. He's actually got an incredible win rate, at least in the last chance qualifier, when he wasn't on shields. He's going to keep playing the shields because he's Anatson. That's what he does. But if things start to go bad on these pushes for CAG, keep an eye out to see if he maybe reverts back to holding a gun, because he can shoot. He just often chooses not to.
Seen a number of Cafe today, and every time this map shows up, you see at least 1 shield operator. This time around, it's just going to be the Blackbeard, as you talked about. Anatson not wanting to use a weapon necessarily, though Blackbeard is a good middle ground between the regular shield ops and your shooty ops.
Yep.
I suppose.
That's what they're called.
Yeah. Pretty sure that's in the official Ubisoft
yeah. That's in the game files.
Yeah. Shield ops and the shooty ops.
Yeah. By the way, the hammer op as well. Bit of a new
It's
one.
the slam op.
Yeah, the slammer op. He's not seen very often these days. Ram and Butt kind of stole his place in the meta, but it makes sense when you look at the util on the side of Furia, right? So many Evil Eyes, so many Goyo canisters. Those nades are going to do a ton of work. Castle barricades as well. You get a lot on those.
Evil Eye's in a bit of an odd position for this sledge. I don't think he'll be able to handle it right away. I suspect this will be a job for the Twitch drone,
Perhaps.
which Chibisu will be piloting on in. We have seen CAG's perspective this whole time, and we have not really seen much out of where these 5 Furia players are. Right now, they're holding down over by Whiskey and Brown Stairs. Herds is in that very popular VIP spot. Oh my, did Nade not get droned out of Main Bakery? He takes down Anatson. There goes the Blackbeard, and Nade is bleeding out. Isn't dead just yet. Chibisu attempting to finish him off with a Twitch drone, loses it to the Evil Eye cam, and now we'll have to watch to see if somebody bothers to walk in. Chibisu, who's shot away at by Felipox, who's downtown. Look at this angle that he holds.
This is a tough spot.
Just going to wander in. Now it's Shurib taking damage. Distracted by that Evil Eye cam. Felipox is not looking for an engagement. Shurib can actually just wander right on into the waiting arms of KZ. Nade has survived this whole time. He'll be dead in a matter of seconds. He'll join KZ. Hilariously, Nade was not the first person to die on the side of Furia.
That's impressive.
CAG are stuck at the moment, Jesse. They tried for a very linear take through Bakery. It did not work out. Now the Ram of Black Ray will cross across JV92.
They have a Nitro.
Nico getting the diffuser down, and Black Ray gives his position away. Nico successful, but a follow-up from the Maestro. He gets the job done, and it's all up to the Capitao, who gets beaten by Hertz. It wasn't just us who didn't see that Furia team. It appears to have been CAG. With how far back the Brazilians played, this Japanese squad walked into their doom.
It was a little scary when they got the fuse kit down, but immediately the swings came out and Furia were responding, so that was good to see. I've noticed an early worrying trend. Anatson down twice immediately as he enters the building, playing on those shield operators. That's got to be something that they will need to fix going forward, because if they don't have that point, man, it's just not going to be successful for CAG on these attacks. Sometimes you go into a round, whether this with a shield or without a shield, but sometimes you go into an attack with a game plan, with a strategy, with an idea of how you want to play it. and something immediately knocks that plan out of focus, right? Immediately, something disrupts you. The defense do something. You walk into a cap can, somebody spawn peeks, whatever it may be. Your whole plan falls apart. You've got to kind of make do with what you have. Scramble together a plan B. CAG haven't really been able to do that so far. Their plan has never really gone well at this early part of the round, just with Anaton dying so early. They've got to find some way to be able to either keep Anaton alive in these early rounds so that he can be that point man, make the space with the shield, or find a way to adapt without him, right? Win these rounds without bringing the shield over and over again. I talked about how they had quite a good win rate when Anaton didn't bring the shields even to begin with. Maybe that's going to be an answer for them. Maybe they're going to find some other way around it. But for the part of Furia, I mean, they seem to have a great handle on countering these shields, and it's only going to get better. Look at this off lineup, Parker. Not only do you have the Legion, which is your classic standard anti-shield operator, but you also have the Captain, which is very annoying for shields to deal with. As you walk through, you're going to take damage, and also it's hard to shoot those Captans. You got to put your shield down. They've also brought the Oryx, who was recently buffed, I may add, so that now he brings his gun up a little bit faster after he's done dashing, which makes him a bit of a better shield counter and just better at dashing at people in general. We'll see if that comes into play. I don't think I've ever actually seen that ability used in a pro match. I think once or twice. I must have, but it doesn't come to mind. So if we could see that, it's a bit of a rare interaction. I'm excited. I'm looking forward to it.
CAG have been swapping their lineups awful lot.
Mm-hmm.
Same with Furia.
3 different sites.
I was going to say, but quite a different range of operators.
Yeah.
Warden was brought twice. Castle has been brought twice. That's it. Every other operator has been new through these 3 bomb sites. I think the meta is actually in quite a good place, especially for defenders. There's lots of flexibility, but one of the most popular defenders up to this point has to be Legion. One wonders if that's solely as an answer to the abundance of shields that we see on attack.
He's also just a good gun, right? Able to move around. I think he's just the best all-around roaming operator in the game.
The T5 has next to no recoil. It has a respectable rate of fire. The damage is good. Goo mines do a number of things. They do damage over time. They stop you from being able to run. Nice run out, by the way, from KZ as he's gunned down by Shirniko on repel. Herds dies to Black Ray 2. Furia gets the lead-off pick, but CAG answers back immediately. This is the exact opposite of what happened in round number 1, where it was Black Ray to get the first kill, and Philippox to then follow up with 2 right thereafter to give the advantage back to Furia.
This is a great spot. They've got a man advantage, full top control. They've got a ram up above. That's not great. Capcan's in the game, and Black Ray finds that out the hard way, so he'll go down to a trap. That makes it down to a 3v3, but they've still got Anaton, who can give them a bit of an advantage with this shield, find out some player information, get that safely before anything happens. They think they've got a read on somebody white stairs, but there's nobody there. Instead, they've fallen back to the hallway, and they find that out and convert it to a pick.
Smoke will go as the Monty looks to walk down. Shirniko covering over this. White Stairs control very firmly held by CAG at the moment, but I don't think they know that Philippox is there. He's tucked away inside Laundry. No, now he's given his position away. It allows JV92 the freedom of movement to escape. Now a drop over towards Pillar, but Shirniko's fighting people who don't even exist. JV92 lines up 2 quick kills, and a third will be his quite easily. Furia back to their old ways, potentially. Not breaking a sweat so far here on Cafe.
Rio, another day at the office over CAG. Again, countering the shield play pretty well. I mean, we're again seeing Anaton in that 3v3 even stacking up on the white stairs. Didn't really take any space. You know, he looked down the stairs. They thought there was somebody below. They got really fixated on that. There was nobody down below. Maybe there was at some point, but there certainly wasn't when they were going for that 3v3 execute. At that point, though, I mean, with the smoke kind of fading, they really were just sitting at white until one other player was able to vault over the balcony and try to take a gunfight over by Pillar. Not the worst idea, right? Distract with the Monty, have the guy hit the back, but then that kind of pinch play from the back player didn't really materialize into anything. So ultimately, it is another round loss from CAG, and it prompts a tactical timeout being brought out by CAG now. So what can they do to answer this? What can they come up with as a response? Again, I mean, we're looking at the shield. It's always going to be a focus with CAG. Do we start to stray away from it? Do we start to find some other answer? Because Furia are bringing a lot of anti-shield operators, even the Orcs in that last round. So it's being read into, it's not really working. At some point, you might want to make a change here from CAG. I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, obviously a worrying sign when you choose the map. Admittedly, your opponent chooses the side, but you still choose the map. You get blanked on a 3-site rotation. You have to call your tactical timeout 10 minutes into the game.
Yeah.
Tactical timeouts are very, very important. Do they change the trajectory of a game? Not always. Are they the make or break for a team? Can be, depending on when it gets called. The way that this matchup has gone, just through these 3 rounds of map number 1, there have been very little good looks for the CAG team. I think that this is a timeout more just to lock in the team and get them centered more than it is a strategic one.
Well, in any case, they've given Anaton a gun, so we'll see how it goes. Once again, 13-4 with a gun in his hands in the last chance qualifier, playing against the other top teams from APAC to try to make it to the Six Invitational. So we'll see what Anaton can do with this now. Also bringing the utility on the Capitao, and this is one of Anaton's most played non-shield operators. We see him playing Capitao all the time. Loves to go for smoke plants and use those firebolts to great effect. So excited to see what he can run with this new op. They've also kept Shiraneko on the collie, so continuing to want to deal with these castle barricades. No mirror windows this time, but still going to get some decent value out of this. I don't hate it. I don't mind the collie being brought, especially for a bomb site like top floor. Certainly worse ops to bring on a map like this, so I can respect it. And it did get a pick, although it kind of baited the first round. It did find a frag. Oh, that's a crazy yokai. You see that? That's to help Felipox go for a run out, I believe. Also just to keep him safe.
It's the first round, by the way, without any shields for the attackers. As you got 10 seconds to scout with that yokai before.
Here it comes.
Oh, he loses the duel. What? Where was Chibisu this whole time? How is he not spotted at all? They were so concerned with the player on Repel, who KZ eventually ends up getting. They didn't know that one player from CAG was right by the door. I guess when you drone, you can't see it all, Jesse.
No, that's a tough one. Running out with the commando. Wasn't the Roni, so we can't blame it on that, but still. Rare misses from Felipox. KZ trying to equalize. I mean, I like the smokes coming out. And nades as well. Lots of pressure. He still wants that smoke, and he will get it. Not in the way he wanted. Downed now on the window. She-Reap outside. Managed to get that. If they don't pick him up, it'll be a 5v3, and this might be the best advantage they've had.
Numbers now equalized, though. Yeah, with KZ bleeding out, the advantage very decidedly in favor of CAG as they go for the drop. Not a ton of time for them to work with. Close enough that they're in striking distance of this bomb site. KZ picked back up. Nade firing a couple warning shots. Both get away with their lives still intact. No fire arrows remaining for Anaton, who's yet to find a kill through 3 rounds. But he's got smokes in his back pocket. KZ dies moments later. Herds is just waiting for the drop. He's looking elsewhere. Nade will need some help. Nobody will be dropping Skylight. Instead, Capitao has gone over towards Red Hatch. Nade, oh my. No hits whatsoever. Bad ending to that round, despite an okay mid-round for Furia, and CAG finally gets on the board.
I just know that KZ is like, why is he still in the window? He's still there. He downed me once, and they couldn't finish me off, and he's still going to be holding it? Yes, he is. He absolutely is, and that's going to be the first round on the board for CAG, and it came when Anaton wasn't holding a shield. I don't know. The stats are lining up. Maybe Anaton deserves to be a gunner. Maybe he needs to be on these guns more often. The shields just aren't really going his way. Regardless, they're on the board. They've got some life in them, and you can see that kind of powers them up a bit. You can tell CAG that gets the energy flowing a little bit more. Sometimes in a game like this where you're going up against the world champions, you're the heavy underdogs, and don't get me wrong, CAG will be the underdogs in every match they play this tournament. It can really be important to get that first round, you know? Believe in yourself. Understand that you can win these rounds. Certainly, some players on Furia went for some aggressive moves, and if they rein that in, I'm not sure if you're going to get those same picks, but a win's a win. You're going to take that. You're going to try to roll with the momentum. excellent for CAG. Now they just need to keep lining them up, get more of those as they come through. In the prep phase, by the way, JV92 spent the entire prep phase not helping his team, but instead lying on the floor. And that's a tactical decision, because he doesn't want CAG to know, to drone out, that there is going to be a Kaid this round. And they didn't see it. And Parker, they've got no answers other than maybe a Twitch drone to try to clear out an Electroclaw on the freezer hatch.
Every single round, somebody from Furia has been tasked with hiding. This time it will be KZ tucked in upstairs. Teams will drone out Piano and they'll drone out Cigar, but they don't always check Ticket Booth, which is where KZ will be seated. Shurip just spotted him though, so the jig is up. This will be a full clear from the top on downwards, and Chibisu is baited in, and JV92, TCSG flattens him. Shurip gets run over by KZ, who earlier had been exposed and managed to get out of that position, and now KZ opens up another window for him to see maybe one more from CAG. Blackbeard is now in. CAG winning the round. They did not bring a shield operator. That's Felipox dropped, and Herds almost died out as well. Herds gets finished off. JV92 with yet another. This is a hectic round, and KZ will reveal himself. Oh my, and get 2 for his trouble. CAG picked up a single round, but outside of that, it's been business as usual for Furia. They look just as strong as ever. 4-1 this first half.
It's a really smart idea to rat there from KZ, because the last time they played basement, they played it full anchor. They played it very respectfully. They had 5 players sitting on the bottom floor. They were happy to just not play aggressive. So this time they said, okay, well, why don't we pretend like we're playing passive just like last time, but we'll send one guy to the top to try to, sneak past a drone. And they droned him. Credit where credit is due. CAG, they found him out. But it didn't matter because the teammates were there. JV92 pushing up the red stairs, working off of that information that CAG has. He knows his teammate got droned, so he's going to make a play off that information, and then KZ comes back for a second too, because he's KZ. He's an SI MVP. He's kind of good at the game. So it really makes sense. That's that coordination that won Furia a world championship not too long ago. They keep that up. It's going to be very difficult for CAG to convert, even when they have the information, as they did in that previous round. Another loss where Anaton is on shield. So if he's keeping this swap to Montaigne, it's not looking good.
First Fenrir and first Scopos. Quite a first half for Furia, and their flexibility on these defenders. Through the first 2 rounds, played 8 operators, then they added 5 more to that tally for 13. Added Echo. It's 50. Now 2 more being added. Oh boy. They've almost played 20 different defenders in these 6 rounds, which is honestly quite a carousel. You typically will see maybe 2, 3, 4 operators show up every round. Legion a good option for that. Castle a good option for that. Mute or Smoke a very good option for that.
Yeah.
The only Smoke that was played by Furia was in the previous round. Played 1 time. That's quite remarkable stuff. With how isolated all this action has been, I don't necessarily know if Smoke is the greatest counter to CAG. CAG have had very staggered interactions and have been playing almost as if they are a team of individuals instead of a proper team.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's difficult sometimes, too, when it's the defense that are making all the moves happen. Not this time, though. KZ caught out from the window. Sheeran Echo, the first time he's not playing a Collie in that position, is able to get a frag, and then a second as Nade leaves his head exposed to the top of red stairs, so Blackray's going to be able to find that, and all of a sudden, we've got another man advantage. Can CAG capitalize this time?
The tricky part's going to be dealing with this Montaigne. JV92 going for a big gamble here. Can he get back in?
No.
Oh my, Shurip! And he had a read on Shiraniko as well, but he can't outduel the Ram. Herds was being hounded by that death mark earlier on. Felipox will now have to get closer to his teammate on this middle floor, as Amonte will soon be breathing down their necks on white stairs. They might not know Felipox's whereabouts down on that bottom floor.
Very similar situation to the last time they were on this bomb site, but the man count is better for CAG this time. If they couldn't convert in a 3v3, surely the 4v2 is what they need. Leapox, he knows it's a dire situation, though, and he's about to do something drastic. He pushes up. He might just catch them off guard.
Oh!
Never mind.
Sheerney goes breakdancing on Pixel Spot. Now the Monty inside the site. Herds will challenge him, but there's gunfire above. There's gunfire from the walls. There's gunfire everywhere around him. And he gets beaten out as CAG have a soft landing as they head into that second half. Now, based just on where they started and what sides, Furia should now go on to the harder side.
Yep.
So that's good news for CAG. As the first half goes by the most common scoreline that we see in Rainbow Six, which is 4-2.
Absolutely a good start here for Furia still, though. I mean, you're going to be happy. The only way you were losing rounds through this first half was when you were getting maybe over-aggressive. You were taking risks, and CAG were able to punish that, right? So that's going to be a part of every Rainbow Six Siege game, but it did feel like CAG were struggling to make their own movements, make their own openings in the rounds. That last round, they did find one pick early, so that was something to say for sure. Now as we move to the defense, Anderson keeps up the shields. It'll be Clash that gets brought out for the first round in reading. And this has actually been where Anderson has set himself apart from other shield players. As shields have gotten stronger and stronger in Rainbow Six Siege, initially with Monty and Blitz, and now in the current meta with Blackbeard, a lot of other teams have been bringing more and more of these operators. Obviously, you see it from Secret in Europe. You see it from a bunch of teams like Liquid and FaZe during certain times. In Brazil, a lot of NA teams, including Old Beast Coast, NA team that Canadian's going to be on. You see a lot of shields being brought out, but Clash didn't really see that same boost in popularity. Anaton has been playing so much Clash over the last year of gameplay in Rainbow Six Siege. He's been a real believer in this operator more than anybody else. So I'm excited to see what he can do on this op. I don't think he's actually leading the world in most attacking shield plays, but he is for Clash.
Just based on the operators that Anaton has rocked, by the way, of these 7 rounds, now 7 rounds, the only round he did not play a shield op was when he played the Capital on round number 4. Beyond that, it's been Blackbeard, Monty, and now Clash. Blackbeard will be brought from KZ with 7 kills. He tears through Shuri, finds himself a big opening on that cocktail window, and instead of opting for more, he falls back. Allow the rest of the team to recover. You've killed a minute so far on the clock, and taking care of the smoke, one of the most critical operators for an execute. Fortunately, Shuri is towards the bottom in terms of kills, but he plays support roles just like Anaton. You're not expecting them to get a ton of frags. KZ dies moments later at the hands of Blackray, who's having a great game so far with 7 kills. As long as Anaton can stay alive and guide this team forward, good things could happen, especially when you're Chibisu making shots like that on Grenade. Next one up is the Deimos of JV92, confronted by the shield at the top of White Stairs. Chibisu will stare down JV92, but they already know his position at this point. Deimos will walk on in. Chibisu is picked off by Felipox, and down goes the Clash. Not down, but down, 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 down.
To the bottom of the sea. No, sorry, to laundry room.
I was going to say. You seem to be mistaken as to where we are.
Yep, no, that was a little brain lapse on my part. 3v3 again. I've seen this one before, Parker, and it didn't go the way of CAG. But now they're on the defense, and they seemingly had a better start on D. 40 seconds to work with. The fuse kit's not in hands, but I believe it's right next to JV92. There he goes. They're going to go for a classic reading plant, but there's a guy Brown.
It's in his hands now.
Yeah. And Shireneko is on Brown stairs. Watch out for him. He's probably going to win them this round.
They've got the Clash.
Oh, he's being trapped.
On read. Blackray taking out JV92. The shield is still up. Blackray has been down for his trouble, and now finished off by Felipox. Final 10 seconds. It's time for Herds to get into action. Felipox with diffuser in. Herds is the only one watching. He hears a body come up Brown stairs. The Clash puts the shield away. It's up to Anaton to clutch out the round against 2 players from Furia. And Anaton might have the lineup. He sure does. One, and then a second will follow. A tight angle that pays off for CAG. They're victorious on their first round as defenders.
That was actually sick from Shiraneko. Obviously great from Anatson as well. I don't know if you caught that. Shiraneko was bottom of brown stairs. They had an idea he was there, but they didn't know for sure. So they Deimos tracked him. But he was playing mute, and he kept the jammer in his pocket. So when he got tracked by the Deimos, he put it down at his feet, and that stopped the Deimos from tracking him, and it alleviated that pressure. Now, they did still catch his flank. He came up a little late. If he moved earlier, he wins that round much easier. Instead, made life a little bit difficult for Anatson, but he steps up and he clutches the round regardless. I'm telling you, Anatson can shoot. People talk about him as just a shield player, but he does well with a gun in his hands, and he proved it in the 1v2 post plant. Herds and Fleepox both just holding the angle, not able to find the head first. Anatson able to get that done. So, we're in a good spot for CAG. All things considered, it started off like pretty rough. Furia were off to the races on defense, but with just one round on defense, now CAG are within striking distance. If they can just string together one more of these, then they're going to be tied. Two more, of course, a full site rotation, and they'll take the lead. A 4-2 lead in Siege is often one of the most deceptive leads that you can get in the game, because as soon as that side swaps, it can disappear so quickly.
Been a completely different team since they called their timeout. CAG started off 0-3 since the timeout. They have gone 3-1, shoring up some of their weaknesses as defenders, or as attackers, and now turning it around as defenders. It was a great first round on defense, but it's not exactly something you can replicate every time. A clash clutch like that does not happen all that often. Honestly, part of it comes down to the way that CAG played the clash. At the very beginning of the round, when the execute from Furia seemed to be taking shape, the clash was very forefront, at the very forefront of the action, but then kind of fell off a little bit and allowed the remaining players, particularly Black Ray, on the side of CAG to excel. What it did was it kept Anatson hidden for a little bit. He won't replicate that same success on the clashes. Now, oh my goodness, he'll play on the Frost. When you're Furia, you hit crazy shots. CAG, I guess they're channeling their inner Furia today. Those have been some disgusting picks.
I can understand why these guys get second in Japan every single stage. They're kind of nasty when it comes down to the mechanics, and I think this is something that's known for a while. Sometimes they haven't been able to put it to work when the pressure is high at big events, but they absolutely are talented players on CAG, and that's going to be a big advantage, taking down that primary hard breach of Herds. Now, the freezer hatch was opened by the defense, so it's not a complete round ender, but it still will be an important operator to take off the board. Still an important player as well, with Herds being one of their best players. Now, with the full top floor control, what are Furia going to be able to get done? They've got a buck, they've got a sledge, but with time starting to tick down, how much are they really going to be able to use off of this? When it comes to the execute, all they've really got are these smokes on Fleepox. Otherwise, they're a little bit shoddy.
KZ taken out by a Nitro Cell, and CAG in prime position with a little bit over a minute to go to tie up this match, which might start to sound some alarm bells for Furia. As you and I talked about in our matchup earlier today, and it bears repeating in every game, not just casted by us, but by everybody, is that you don't make it to the Six Invitational unless you are one of the best teams in the world. And while there might be a difference between the top and the bottom, these best of threes can really go either way. Another Nitro Cell will connect, the second so far this round. Goodbye, Felipox. Black Ray is the only casualty from CAG. It's Nade and JV92 for Furia, so double the numbers right now for the Japanese team. Down goes Shuri. They were hoping with the sidearm that Warden would be able to prevail over Chibisu. Won't be had. Now it's Nade, frozen out of brown stairs, about to move towards Whiskey, and he could use a nice stiff drink after that round. Tie game with Cyclops, picking things up. After those first three rounds, they've been a very different team.
Shiraneko makes some magic happening for the two-man advantage, and then in the 3v5, Furia don't give it really their best shot. They smoked off the Warden player in VIP, which is never a good idea. They were smart enough not to swing it afterwards, but still we saw that the frags coming out and being cleaned up by the Warden there. 4-4 ends up our scoreline. I should say, Furia, in their history, throughout both their time on W7M and now here on Furia, have never in their team's career lost more than 4 rounds to a Japanese team before. They've played Scars on 2 different maps, and they've played CAG on 2 different maps. Their worst result ever was 7-4. That was a loss to Scars, their most recent game. Otherwise, they've lost 7-1 to CAG, 7-1 to Scars, and 7-3 to CAG. So this could be a new beginning for Japan's dominance over Brazil, or it could just be a 4-4 game on Cafe I'm reading too much into. In either case, CAG have a shot.
Furia still have their timeout as well. They were able to talk tail end of round number 3 when Cyclops called theirs, but confidence that we see is really quite something. And Shiraniko misses an opportunity to give a huge lead to his team early on. Sharif doesn't miss, by the way. Down goes Herds, and no more silhouettes seem to be appearing as it's a full court press from Cyclops. Taking no prisoners. Herds on that Ram is gone. That's your primary soft destructor. But not all hope is lost. Ellapox very likely has the secondary shotgun on Jackal. I assume that KZ has the same. Yep, they're on Gridlock. Super Shorty will open things up. So you've still got some shotguns to tear through the floor, but none as effective as a singular boogie drone, let alone a few that Herds has.
Hacked drone from Chibisu. You can tell on the HUD he's hacked 2 different drones, actually. The other one's in Pillar. You can see on the HUD right now. So lots of information being set up, okay, and the other one upstairs inside of Cigar. This could be huge for CAG. Furia have no idea where these drones are at. They'll know there are hacked drones somewhere, but not a clue as to their positions. And that could be massive as we look at the lineup with 3 C4s inside of 4 C4s on CAG.
You saw how successful those C4s were in the previous round. 2 casualties on the side of Furia. They lost Herds early. Now they'll lose their main hard destructor on the side of Furia. As Nade is picked off, not a single point of damage has been done to CAG. Both of those kills have been very safe, relative freebies. Ellapox and KZ now at this point are on half HP. Finally, some damage has been done to Cyclops. That's Shiraniko on sentry, but a long run around the building. Almost as if they circled the whole building before finding their way to their destination. The Deathmark will go out, and Philippox gets the very first kill for Furia. They'll need quick action now. 1 minute left, and CAG still having the numbers advantage.
The guy down here, of course, it's Blackray who's lurking alone down on the bottom floor. They know where he's at. They know he's down here at least. I thought they did. Leapox has got to be very careful of that. If he's not, Blackray is sure to walk up these brown stairs and shoot him in the back. If he goes quick enough, though, it might not end up being a problem. He's got to converge with the rest of these teammates. With the Jackal track now, this could be big, an opportunity.
I almost thought that was a kill through the soft wall. I was going to say, excuse me. Blackray and Chibisu with Anton just before it as a team effort comes out from this CAG squad, and they have their very first lead of the series. A single round is all Furia has to show after CAG called their timeout. Cyclops, well, they've got 5, and it prompts the Brazilian teams, the defending world champions, were absent from our most recent major, but are looking to win once again to call their timeout.
It's often really hard for talent and viewers to judge the skill of coaches. We don't know what they're saying. We don't know what they're talking with their teammates, especially when they don't speak English and tackle timeouts such as this. But I think, given his accomplishments, it is safe to say that Igor, the guy standing behind Furia, is one of the greatest coaches in the world. And it's going to be a tall task for him to get these players back on track. Get them to lock in. They just lost how many rounds in a row to CAG? This was a 4-2 game at one point. It was 4-1 before they started this losing streak. Now it's 5-4. The game has started to slip away from them. And really what it's been over the last couple of rounds is just CAG getting early aggressive picks. They're often disrupting the game plan from Furia, much the same as Furia were doing against CAG in the first half. So they need to be more aware of these aggressive moves that are starting to happen from CAG. Been a lot of spawn peaks. It's been run out sometimes that CAG are going for on a map like Cafe. Those are effective. Like it or not, those are the strategies that prevail often in ranked and in competitive as well. There's no difference. So I want to see them starting to get a little bit more aware of these aggressive plays. We saw a bit of a drone chase there as Chibisu tried to catch another one. If they can manage to stop that aggression, right? If they can manage to slow down CAG in the early round, get their 5-man roster to the bomb site, that might result in some more success. That might result in some better win cons. And what a lineup they're bringing to try to accomplish that fact. Nage, the hard support planter, bringing the Amaru. JV92 hopping on that Blackbeard.
First blood has resulted in a correct conversion in all but 2 rounds. So very, very impactful part of this game. You get first blood. You almost certainly go on to win the remainder of the round.
Okay.
Right now, it's Cyclops drawing first blood 5 times and Furia doing it 4 times, which perfectly mirrors the scoreline, though. If you remember, it was all the way back in round number 1 that it was Cyclops to get the first blood and then ultimately not win the round. It was a botched Nitro Cell, by the way, that we saw that almost killed JV92. Could have been another spectacular start for CAG.
Yeah, and I mean, that's what I'm talking about, right? This early aggression. Furia had to find a way to shut that down. I don't know if that was them shutting it down as much as it was a misplay from Anaton.
What? Where does he get the read to just jump on in? They have commandeered this top floor, and CAG look like sitting ducks as they try desperately to slow down Furia. The guns might not be able to do it. That's the 3rd Nitro Cell kill in the last couple minutes as KZ guns down Black Ray after the explosive from below was good enough. Smoke will linger, and a 3v3 is what confronts us. Anaton eliminating KZ. Next up is Herds, who walks all the way to the top. Down goes Shureep, who's completely blind. Diffuser will now be retrieved by the Buck. Top floor control is good for Furia with half of the round to go, and a 2v2 presents itself.
And an opportunity to equalize that or get a better man count. Didn't quite find it, though, from Philippe Hawks. Anaton sprints past the angle. He's got a bit of, he's got the heart scanner, which he can use to get a bit of that information as to where these players are at. The Buck is not exactly being stealthy, so it's not like that's going to be difficult. Probably better to hold the angles. They're going to have to use these Flores drones for some of that soft breach. Here comes the cardiac sensor now from Anaton. See if they're going to drop that hatch. Still 60 seconds. Furia can take their time with this, or they can push anytime they see an opportunity. The bees are out. That must have been a mute chamber that just got destroyed. So the Grim kick up. The Grim's been dead for a long time. Caught me off guard a little bit. They might be able to catch Anaton from above. He's holding the angle, but if he gets shot through the soft wall, the soft floor, the bars, could betray him.
You think the bees could have been hibernated? Maybe they just woke up from a long nap.
I think you're thinking of bears. Bees and bears, very different animals.
Battlestar Galactica. Final 30 seconds, and all that hard work on the top floor will be for naught if Furia cannot get into the bomb site and plant that diffuser. Herds has walked in, and next to the armoire will find some security as Fleepox watches from above and maybe pulls trigger a little bit too early on. Herds standing up, and you know what? Maybe he doesn't need Fleepox. Maybe he just needs himself as he finds both of the kills to tie the game. And Fleepox was somewhere else on the map entirely. Great play by the Brazilians to bounce back and keep this one close. Timeouts apparently meaning an awful lot in this map.
Yeah, it was great from Herds to find that gap. Obviously, they had so much time to work with on that top floor. It was like a minute 30 or something from Furia. And eventually, Herds found a way into the bomb site. And Anaton, he was the guy inside of Laundry. In theory, he should have been the one shutting down Herds from just walking in through the reading door. But he was so obsessed with staring upwards at that hatch. He was convinced, based on the intel he found from that pulse scanner, that there was going to be somebody dropping the hatch to try to make a play or at least contesting the hatch. There never was. Instead, it was the doorway left wide open that Herds walked on in, got the plant down, and then the last 2 kills beautifully done, as we know that he can. Nice job from Furia. This will go at least 12 rounds on Cafe. Can Furia keep this momentum rolling, start to make things happen? I will say, for their part, CAG, the shield attacks weren't so successful. For Furia, they're 1 for 1, and JV92 is liking those odds. It looks like he's going to stick this up. Okay. Looks like he's not going to stick this up because he doesn't like those odds,
You
Parker.
fell for it again.
I did.
You fell for it again.
A classic Pastor trap. Well, we'll see what they can do then with the sledge in his hand. Not a common operator you see for the top floor of Cafe, especially with no castle being brought.
The Boss G got nerfed, by the way. It's not as strong as it was. It doesn't stop Shureep or going fishing.
He's on the... Oh, that's insane. JV92 is the first person to ever use that ladder.
The devs were like, well, they didn't even know they could climb it. We just put it in.
That's crazy.
Unfortunate for Shureep is he's broken double digits, but in the wrong direction. He's the first player to break double digits in deaths. As he hits 10. Vigil could be quite good on this bomb site. Being able to roam on that middle floor, being able to take the stairs. If you want to set up a flank drone, you wouldn't be able to do that. They'd rely an awful lot on the gridlock at this point. No Claymores brought either, so it's just the track stingers that would have kept the Vigil at bay should he play on that main floor or even go for a hop out. Nico seems to be thinking about it, Jesse.
I think it worked.
Go for it. Do it.
Now he's looking at it. Now he's looking at it.
Do it. Do it anyway.
No,
do it anyway.
It is staring at the
Do
angle.
it anyway. Go.
He will die.
Go.
10 seconds ago, 15 maybe.
No.
Now,
don't be a
no.
Coward. Don't be a coward.
He wasted his moment. It's gone. And he's not
you
wanting
can
to.
reclaim a moment. Go, Nico. Like his intrusive thought. Do it. Uh-oh. GBSU dies to Herd. There's no way he's still looking right. Boo!
The right
I
call
wanted
was
to see
made.
a hop out.
The right call was made.
Wrong call. Calamity, by the way.
Yeah.
Furia seemingly motivated by that most recent round, and this is their game. Shiraniko, who wanted that hop out for so long, instead gets a great shot onto the skylight. He'll have to muster up a lot more than that. Maybe not. Nate gets him on rappel, and Furia moved him at point.
Nate was going to kill Shiraniko that round if it was the last thing he did. He made sure he was going to kill that player. If you're going to jump out, I'll find the frag. If you're not, I'll still find the frag. Beautifully done.
I think he should have jumped out.
It wouldn't have changed the result of the round.
It does not matter. I am here for the violence. That is it.
They wouldn't have lost the round any harder. It still would have been 6-5. So jumping out...
So it's like they always say, you can't jump out of a basement window. Except in this instance, it was a second floor window.
Yeah.
And he could have jumped out of it.
Could have.
So it's actually the exact opposite of what I said.
No, but the
you
analogy
can't jump out of a
makes
basement
sense.
window, but you can jump out, and he should have. But the whole point of the analogy was that it can't get any worse, aka you can't jump out of a basement window, but I was tying it to the fact that he could have jumped out of a top floor window. See what I did right there?
No, I did. I connected those dots, Parker, and that's why you're a great caster.
This is why they pay me dozens and dozens of dollars a day.
You're getting paid?
I didn't hear what you said. What's that? Oh, sorry, you're breaking up.
CAG want to get paid, but to do so, they're going to have to win some games and get out of groups because that's where the prize money does get the highest. There is prize money for finishing last, but not as much. And so they're going to be looking to get a deep run here at the Six Invitational. And honestly, a 6-5 scoreline is a good place to be if you're CAG, up against the former world champions, reigning world champions even, in Furia. 1 round away from overtime on your own map pick. This is an extremely important round for the CAG fans. They had some hope at the first couple of rounds through the second half. Their defenses were looking strong, but since the TAC timeout, Furia have looked unstoppable. They've been reading into this CAG aggression. They've been shutting it down time after time. In round number 12, we don't see that same aggression. No C4s, no spawn peaks, no jump outs. Feels like CAG have reined things in, whether that's experience and being a bit more cautious or whether that's fear, will likely determine the result of this round.
Real success on the repels for Furia at the moment. Maybe they're fearful of being cautious. To your
Well, then they'd
point.
be playing aggressive, and they're not doing that. So I'm going to say that's unlikely.
Drat. Eat in the free market of ideas yet again. What more could I do? Anderson managing to survive a grenade thrown at his feet, and then a single bullet bouncing off of that ballistic shield. As Furia have been able to force these players out of their positions, but have been unsuccessful in getting a kill while doing so.
This is the longest time we've had a 5v5 in this game so far. Minute 30, everyone's alive. Somewhat rare through the first 11 rounds of this game. There is still one player. It's going to be Shurip, who's up top, protected by a castle barricade inside a piano. Can he make his way back down the white stairs? Yes, he can. Castle barricade, again, protects him on this angle, so he will safely retreat to the 2nd and a half floor.
Oh, my. Oh! Didn't know if Shurip was going to be able to make some serious noise there. Almost gets him as he impacts out that white window, and now there go the magnets, the bees, the track stingers. Oh, God, everything unfolding in front of our very eyes. He will take matters into his own hands. At F90, we're looking intently for Shurip, and he actually pulls it off with the super shorty. JV92 eliminating Shiraniko, and 2 will fall very quickly for CAG. They'll find themselves in a bad spot with 30 seconds left. They still have the Clash up, so there will be time that can be bought by this Japanese squad. And what a flick from Black Ray, who immediately finds the Clash. He will back away. Chibisu as well is hidden in the corner. Furia going for the knockout blow. They desperately want to put this one away, but they have not done their due diligence. They have not flushed out these players from Cyclops, and they are being fed to the machine. Only 1 moment left, and time will run out on Furia winning in regulation. CAG tie things up and send us to OT.
Oh, the veteran from Tokyo saves it. Black Ray with that insane round keeps it alive. He's been on this CAG roster for over 6 years, along with Anaton, and has never made it out of groups. Now he's got an opportunity. He's just forced the world champions to overtime on his own map pick. Starting to get close. I mean, this game, it felt like a foregone conclusion before we began, but now we're here in round 13. Anything is possible. CAG, they started to make me a believer, Parker. I don't know.
I can feel you. You're getting anxious.
I'm getting excited
watching this.
I did not believe it until we got to 6. Even at 5, I was like, I don't know. Furia just called their attack. They're bouncing back. After seeing that from Black Ray, I feel like the guys on CAG, I'm ready to just yell just like them.
Bro, you're not. I don't know how to tell you this. We're not.
Feels like I am, Parker. Feels like I am.
Good effort, though.
Doesn't make it any less real.
Yeah. Been an incredible performance from CAG. We still don't really have an answer to our question just yet. I suspect we'll need at least some of map 2 before we have more clarity. The question, of course, is only 2 questions, of course. First question is, can CAG make it out of the groups and potentially even be a top 8 team? Good news for CAG is that only a single team will be eliminated at the end of Phase 1. 4 teams going home. There's 4 groups. If you were to poll the people who are watching this game, I bet you most of them would probably put CAG as that team to go home. But with the heat that they are bringing right now against Furia, I don't necessarily agree with that.
Imagine if the world champs were the first to go out. That'd be a story in and of itself. And this is not an easy push. I mean, Anaton's in a great position. He hid on the Kaid, much like JV92 was in that first half. This is not an offer that they were aware of coming into this round. They're going for a bakery push, so it might not matter. Good dodge of the Nitro Self. Open things up for KZ.
Oh my! Anaton eliminating KZ at that main door. He wants more. Take him off his shield, and as you pointed out, he can indeed frag. He was 1-4 at one point, now sitting at 6-6. He has survived an awful lot of rounds. JV92 will smash a bunch of windows. Shureep, who'd gambled on a spawn peek on this Vigil before, now could do some greater damage as he survived much longer. Not really sure what the plan there was, boss, but I mean, it does not work out. JV92 sees him, punishes him from that position. It'll be Furia to equalize with just a little bit over a minute to go.
I'm not a big believer in the new Boss G. I feel like it is, it's a weapon that has struggled to get kills since its nerf, and even, honestly, pre-nerf, it felt a little overhyped. It had its moments, for sure, but it's a very niche gun that works in one situation where you're holding an angle and they walk into you. Still, that's being taken off the board, and it's a 4v4. Good top control from Furia as they start to open up the hatch. The Electrical avoided thanks to the ace, so they can go for a freezer drop if they want to. I think with Anaton holding down Bakery, that's going to be the call because it's been so scary to get into it. And, I mean, Anaton's still so strong in this position, but they're stacking up on him.
He tried to draw them out, but instead, he gets played himself. JV92 punishes him from small Bakery window. There was another body from Furia lined up at that Bakery door. The worry about this bomb site is always being a bit too linear. Black Ray doesn't seem to bother looking above. Way too fixated on what's happening in front of his face, and with that, a lot of control for the world champions. Nico and Chibisu last 2 left alive. Diffuser going down, a Nitro Cell tossed out. It does some serious damage, and Furia wins the round based on kills, but they lost the Diffuse planter in the process. So things could have been very, very bad for the Brazilians, but thank goodness there was enough of them to find the final 2 kills to take the round.
You can't see the chat, but KZ just typed NS and then TY. So NSKZ, NS. I didn't quite see the shot, but I'm sure it was beauty. 7-5, or 7-6, you should say. CAG in that last round. It was a good start. I felt like Anatol was really holding down Bakery, but he got a little over-eager. Not sure there was a necessity to swing the bake door into small Bakery there, but he chose to do so and got punished on the window play. I think he got tricked and thought that it was going to be a back take because he hadn't seen anybody in Bakery for a long time. Right here, this swing's what I'm talking about. Felt like he thought there were still going to be more players that were pushing the backside of the bomb site, but it was everybody on Bakery, barring one holding it down from up above. Clearly, this is going to be an uphill battle. Now CAG have got to get it done on attack. They only won 2 of their regulation attacks. It will have to be a 3rd in overtime, or else they'll drop their own map pick to the world champs. They can do it. They've proven that they can attack on this map. They can get it done. Often that came off of punishing Furia aggression. In overtime, it can often be very tempting to do something aggressive early, tilt your opponents. If it works, that's a huge payoff. But I'm watching Furia set up this site. I see a castle, I see a Wamai, I see goo mines all over the place. I'm not sure that's going to be the game plan.
It's not even overtime where you want to take that opportunity. I mean, Cyclops was spawn peeking through at least 2/3 of their defending round.
Certainly.
The same lineup that we saw from CAG, and there goes the Nitro Cell, and Herds not able to accomplish much with it.
That was a belief C4. Didn't believe enough.
Did you believe?
Nope. I could see the outlines.
That's what happened. I like the Flores an awful lot.
Makes Nade move a little bit, but it doesn't destroy the castle barricades. Might have been the goal there. The second one should, as we hear it being exploded. No, it's actually going to go down the skylight. Deny some of those positions over inside of bar. Only 2 more Flores drones now from Black Ray. They do have the Collie, I suppose, so the castle barricade's actually probably not the biggest goal for the Flores. Sitting on that window, Chirineko should be able to clear those out. We have too many issues once these magnets get cleared at least. And assuming he doesn't get run out on, but he's watching for that, and I don't think it's in the game plan for Furia.
Been a long time since we saw Collie in this matchup.
Yeah.
An upside down Rebel over by Piano with sightlines cut off by smokes sent out by the attackers. It'll work both ways, and Furia will not be able to see much. Though they assume the same position that they were in before. KZ on Pixel behind a deployable shield. A very powerful spot to be in, as the Monty is out of reach. Right now inside a Cigar. KZ will lose his protection of that deployable shield to a Rotero drone. 1 more remains in pocket for Black Ray.
Ooh, mirror window being protected by that magnet.
Not this time. And they'll lose it. Lance from Kali will burrow itself in. And now the Monty inside of Piano, doing the dance. Wants to get down tonight. Herds, first kill. Fellapox follows up. Chibisu also on the score sheet as KZ dies from that position, but he was playing in a spot that is often referred to as suicide because you know you're going to die. There's no other question. Black Ray will equalize these numbers as he walks in. JV92 picked apart by Chirineko, who's put away that bolt action and instead has the SMG out. Last 2 players alive from Furia in similar spots. 1 inside a cocktail, 1 in back bar, and CAG will get very, very aggressive. Black Ray and Chirineko with 2 very swift kills, and that long walk to victory that you talked about.
Let's go!
It's down to a single round. All 15 needed in our very first map between these teams.
Do you believe, Parker, the CAG upset, even if it's just a map? Furia have, of course, never dropped the map to a Japanese team before, so this would be huge for Cyclops to start their Six Invitational run with a win like this. That round, I was worried for them because the clock was starting to get quite low. Their shield play did not work. Anson a little too cute with that dancing inside a Piano. But the util clear was great. You know, with the combination of the Flores plus the Collie, they cleared up the castle barricades, the pixel shield fell, the mirror window went down. They cleared out those magnets when they needed to. They had enough util to get through all of the utility that Furia set up to try to defend with. And then with about 20 seconds left on the clock, they pulled up their guns and they said, let's all push together. They hit those shots that they needed to, kind of bum rush Furia on the top floor and made it so that they could win those last couple of fights. Now it's all going to come down to this. a mining and dining defense from CAG to try to lock this down and win their own map pick. Furia, they've got to remember the words of their coach from a few rounds ago that started this comeback from Furia. Initially, it was a CAG comeback, then Furia had to do their own mini comeback. Both kind of coming off the back of tech timeouts, although CAG's a little bit later. Once again, the Kaid being brought wasn't as hidden this time around, so it might have been seen on the side of Furia. Regardless, they'll know soon enough because they do have that IQ. Lots of soft breach. Herds and JV92 both bringing these soft breaching operators, and they're looking for a spawn peak, but I don't see any, at least to start the round. Another hacked drone. Do you see that?
I did. I was going to say, I'm very intrigued to see what happens on Chalet, whether this will be a 2-0 or not. With the way this first map has gone, I'm a little 50-50. I mean, historically, Furia have not been the best team on Cafe, and there's some very obvious weaknesses here that are being exploited by CAG. But at the same time, Furia obviously are not the team that they used to be. What happens on Chalet? CAG wins. Is it possible that we see a 2-0?
CAG, not a bad Chalet team. 6-game win streak at the moment. They got to get there first, and it's going to be a good opening pick from Herds. Will make it difficult. That's the only top floor player, I believe. Yeah, nobody else from CAG was holding this.
Oh, was that created? Was that Nitro Cell possible because it was created by the Boogie? It sure looks like that was the case.
Perhaps, yeah.
Holes work both ways.
Yeah, they do.
Crack Stingers to prevent the flank now on red stairs as Furia does not want to relinquish control of this top floor.
They look nervous almost, you know? Furia, this is unusual. Like, simple mistakes, maybe not the biggest in the long run, but standing in electricity, holding these angles, a little slow to get some jobs done. The positioning is great, though. You can't deny that. But these shots, they look a little nervous.
Yeah, KZ botching an opportunity to kill Aniton. Now the advantage goes in favor of CAG. Shoe Reap from down below. He'd been holding this position, not wavering at all, and it pays off with 2 very quick kills. Furia staring down defeat in their first map at an international level in over 6 months. The defending world champions obviously wanting a repeat. Many thought this would be a gimme for them, but not the case at this point in time. Black Ray dies to Nade. That was a joint effort between him and JV92 as Nade now finds himself tucked away with the bomb chassis in front of him. He's got some security here. JV92 needs to cover though. Nitro Cell goes out. Nade will again attempt the defuse plan as JV92 drops, looking for the coverage. They will swarm him. Aniton with the kill. It's all up to JV92, but Aniton will say no thank you. Cyclops taking their own map. It took 15 rounds and it wasn't easy, but the Japanese team gets it done.
Not sure if it was the game we expected, but it's the game we got. A series we have on our hands. CAG taking it 7-8. They'll find the success. What a game. Black Ray putting up 15 frags in that matchup, 15-11. A huge performance in some big moments. He was the one that saved this game in round number 12 when we all thought it would be over. A ridiculous 3K set themselves up, and then Aniton hit it home at the end with that 2K. Brilliantly done.
Lots for us to talk about, but it's been a long day already, and this one might go longer just yet. Chalet, we know, is up next. We'll be back in just a few minutes.
Keep an eye out for contact.
Available now.
Segura aí. Podem começar a conversar agora entre vocês, trocando ideia.
Na moral, o Uruguai vacilou.
Cara, o mesmo que vai perder o Vira no Brasil.
Que isso, cara? Que isso, moleque? Caralho, viado. De onde você veio isso, mano? Caralho, filho da puta, mano.
Não acredito, velho. aí, mano? Como é que você tá, cara? Boa, tranquilo. Caralho, que isso? Você achou mesmo que ia perder o vídeo do Brasil? Caralho, 12 horas de busão, pô. Você pegou? Peguei, cheguei hoje. Caralho, que da hora, mano.
Meu nome é Vinícius Merletti, falo aqui de Floripa. Eu sou de São Paulo, né? Sou paulista, mas eu vim aqui para Floripa em 2019 para estudar. Eu passei aqui na UFSC, que é a Universidade Federal aqui de Floripa. Hoje eu tenho grandes amigos no Rainbow Six, que o JP eu já conhecia ele antes, né? A gente estudou juntos bastante tempo. E conheci também o Busta e o Tóquio. São grandes amigos meus que a gente fez dentro do jogo, E são amigos que hoje eu levo pra vida. Hoje eu abriria facilmente a porta deles da minha casa. São pessoas de um coração gigante que no momento que a gente tá jogando a gente se diverte muito. Então a gente se esquece às vezes do problema, algum problema do trabalho que possa ter ocorrido. E no momento que a gente tá no jogo a gente tá dando risada, tá focado em ganhar, às vezes dá um rage, mas faz parte. Ó, do Caio brigando. Olha aí, quer comer, cara, vai comer. Ó, rapel varanda fora. Tomei. Puta caramba. Tomei, velho. Então eu descobri que o Invi ia ser no Brasil, ali em São Paulo. A gente acabou comprando os ingressos, mas passou um tempo, foi passando os meses, e eu acabei encaixando uma viagem bem num dia. Prometi uma viagem pra minha namorada, falei pra eles que eu não ia mais. Eu tinha falado pra eles que não ia, eles ficaram super irritados, porque a gente comprou bem quando lançou os ingressos. Tava um preço um preço excelente ali. Aproveita muito, cara. Indo no Brasil, vai ter uma atmosfera única. Aproveita bastante lá. Não esquece de mandar muita foto. Você sabe que eu queria muito estar indo aí. E, pô, vacilei contigo. Mas vai ter mais outras oportunidades, tá? Aproveita muito por mim, tá? Falou, mano. É nóis, tamo junto. Pô, ele acredita mesmo que eu não vou. Faltando poucos dias, decidi ir para São Paulo e ver essa experiência incrível. E ainda eu quero muito ver a cara deles quando eu for fazer essa surpresa. Acho que vai ser maravilhoso, eles vão ficar muito emocionados, assim, vai ser um encontro épico. Presencial Invitational com as pessoas que eu sempre joguei, passei horas do meu tempo jogando, me dedicando ao jogo ali, me divertindo. E estar com eles lá, viver esse momento vai ser muito maravilhoso.
Pra mim, tá? Segura aí. Podem começar a conversar agora entre vocês, trocando ideia.
Na moral, o Uruguai vacilou.
Cara, mesmo que vai perder o vídeo no Brasil?
Que isso, cara? Que isso, moleque? Caralho, viado. De onde você veio? Isso, mano. Caralho, filho da puta, mano.
Não acredito, velho. E aí, mano? Como é que você tá, cara? Boa, tranquilo.
Caralho, que isso, mano.
Você achou mesmo que ia perder o vídeo no Brasil?
Caralho,
12 horas de busão, pô.
Você pegou?
Peguei, cheguei hoje.
Caralho, que da hora, mano.
Nós o caminho inteiro falando, mano. Não acredito que o Uruguai vai perder essa porra, mano.
Não, a gente combinou agora de falar isso. A gente já tinha decidido de vir há muito tempo. Desde que lançou, ele mandou mensagem e falou, ó, compra agora. Aí compramos, beleza. Aí ele mandou e falou assim, pô, mano, não vai dar, vou viajar e tal. Eu falei, pô, você vai perder isso aqui, mano. Não sei nem como vai ser a próxima oportunidade que vai ter.
Vim de Floripa, 12 horas de busão. E foi isso, tamo aqui.
Que pilantra, mano.
It's Ventus Pro versus W7M!
Well, CAG gets the job done on their own map, setting us up for a showdown on Chalet. Furia will be fighting for their lives on their map, at least. But it's a bit of an unpredictable first map. Furia are not the best cafe team. CAG obviously knows a thing or two about this map. That's why they chose it. While there were struggles from both teams, there were also some incredible moments. Anaton's 2K right here to win the round was a huge turning point for CAG. But Furia, they're defending champs for a reason. You just can't shake them all that quickly. Even though it was a CAG victory, Jesse, all 15 rounds were played. If that's the pace these teams want to set, that's fine. It'll be a late night, but boy, oh boy, that means Chalet will be chaos.
I remember it was February 7th, 2023. It was the first day of the Six Invitational in Montreal 2 years ago, and the matchup was CAG versus BDS.
Okay.
And everybody said BDS are going to wipe the floor with CAG because it's BDS. And even back then, before they had users in Soltov, they were known as one of the greatest teams of all time. And CAG were known as a team who get grouped all the time. It should have been a done result, a clean 2-0 for BDS. But what happened, I ask you?
What happened?
It was a 2-1 for CAG. They walked away with the victory. They won their opening game of the Six Invitational. And then they lost every game and got grouped.
So, what are you, a lawnmower?
So I'm not. Even if CAG can win here, the road ahead is not free. But this would certainly be a good start.
I'm allowed to say that, by the way, because I have a small stutter. Fun fact. Everybody really pulling their weight on both teams. Nade and Fellapox are usually the two players on the side of Furia that are towards the bottom. Nade 6-10. It's obviously not an ideal scoreline, but on his roll, it's not really the end of the world. KZ going 10-13 is probably the bigger problem for this squad, but realistically, you look at the score lines of these two teams, and it was a relatively even affair, and it was a relatively even match, needing all 15 rounds, CAG winning by a single round. This is what you come to expect.
Yeah, I mean, there have been games throughout the day where you can kind of point to like one or two players who didn't perform. I won't name the games or the players, but I think the community kind of knows who didn't step up today. Didn't feel like anybody was underperforming in Furia versus CAG, right? I mean, every single player had moments where they were really getting the job done, and Furia could have gotten it done as well. I think it just came down to reading their opponents and understanding what CAG's game plan was going to be, maybe giving up some kills that they didn't need to in that first half, then kind of letting CAG clutch back that round number 12. I mean, they would have liked to have that one back. And then I truly think by the time they got to round 15, they just got a little nervous. They slowed down, they started to stall, and they started to realize, wait, we could actually lose this game. And lose it they did. This is not a team we talk about as chokers. You know, this is a team that famously had the greatest comeback in Siege history, at least in a single map, the last Six Invitational Grand Finals. So they're typically thought of as very mentally resilient. But in this game today, it just didn't feel like this was the same Furia that was lifting the hammer 1 year ago. So we've got to see them bouncing back from that. We've got to see them once again locking in to take down a tough opponent. And CAG have proven they are a tough opponent. You know, we talk about them in the community as a squad that haven't had a lot of success, obviously. But that doesn't mean they're not talented. That doesn't mean they're not capable of popping off. And that doesn't mean that they can't win games if you underestimate them. So this has got to be the moment where Furia start to get their act together and lock in against a, in theory, weaker opponent, against an underdog. Because if they don't, nothing is given in Rainbow Six Siege. Just because you were the world champions last year doesn't mean you can't get grouped all the same. And outside of CAG, and even maybe including CAG during this matchup, Furia are in a very tough group. Any game that you drop could be the one that sends you home.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at FaZe Clan, Shopify Rebellion, CAG, Furia, and Team Secret, those are the 5 teams that are here in Group B. Mm-hmm. By many considered to be the group of death. But, I mean, it's SI. All of the groups are going to be quite tough. If you talk to these teams privately, they will tell you that CAG Osaka is the gimme match. That's the one that you know you're going to win. It's fine. And, I mean, I said this too. You know, when you talk to the general audience or you talk to people who watch these teams, a lot of people assume that CAG will go out first. And I mean, historically, with the way that APAC has played, it's not that bizarre for them to be one of the regions to send at least one team home right off the rip. But hey, with the way that they're playing, North America just might be sending a team home as well right off the rip because NA has not been performing so well through the first day of matches. There's still plenty of games to play, and we've got another map for you. Furia at 79% to CAG at 21%. That is very little movement. It was 80 to 20 1% of you watch CAG win the first map and we're like, all right, I'm convinced.
That was not a convincing win for the audience.
All right,
My
you know
God.
what? I've changed my mind.
Okay,
CAG won Cafe, it's over.
they're not believers, Parker. They think that was a fraudulent map win. And to be fair, that was CAG's pick. In theory, we go to now Chalet, which was chosen by Furia, and so this makes sense. Given we have an 8-7 win on CAG's pick, it should be a little bit more favorable for Furia, and they should be able to lock in and win this one. But again, games aren't played on paper. CAG will be the one team that actually banned the shield in this matchup. So in map number 1, it was Furia who took care of the Blitz, and that made a lot of sense. But this time around, it'll be CAG who banned not just the Blitz, but also the Vigil, which they were playing a ton of on that first map, and they were not seeing much of from their opponents. So interesting bans. Just because Furia are on attack and they're orange, it's possible these are flipped. I've seen this bug in the game before. That might be swapped. I'll go with what the game says for now. But certainly an interesting choice from CAG if they were truly the ones to ban out both the Vigil and the Blitz here. Or, yeah, the Vigil and the Blitz. Fury taking out the Mira and the Deimos instead. Regardless, should be a very interesting game. A lot of strong defensive operators still being left up. Of course, Azami being left up, Castle as well. Those are the two ops that we saw taken out the last time you and I casted Chalet a few hours ago. Both can be extremely strong to hold down that top floor. The fact that they are both available means that playing the top floor, whether that's on a roam, an extended roam, or whether that is as the bomb site itself, is a lot more viable. So excited to see if either of these teams try to play through that top floor. But if not, I mean, Chalet's a 4-site map, so you really never know what you're going to get.
I know you're a numbers guy. I am very excited for when more of these maps get played to the point where we can start referencing all the different bomb sites and what we can come to expect. I mean, I guess we could collect data from all the other regions and put it together, but things have changed, operators have changed, it's different teams playing. We can't just go and rely off that data from the Montreal Major as an example, because that was the last major international event.
I will tell you, Parker, through 38 rounds this season, CAG have an 87% defensive win rate on Chalet, which is very good out of all teams. 87%. Of course, a lot of that comes from playing in Japan. But even still, much higher than most teams coming into this event, so you can read a little bit into that. They're clearly experienced with holding on to this map, despite the fact that it's not their pick. In fact, if I can keep loading your brain with numbers, CAG are actually on a 6-game win streak on Chalet, undefeated since EWC.
No way.
And Furia are on a 5-game win streak on this map, undefeated since Manchester.
Where are you getting these numbers from, man?
I'm reading them off the sheet, because I wrote them down earlier, right before the game started. Just once we knew the maps.
Got it. A lot of damage has been attempted. Up until a moment ago, none of it had connected. KZ dropped by Black Ray. Black Ray was top frag on CAG in the previous map. Seems to be high highs for Black Ray and some low lows. I have casted a lot of CAG. They might be one of my most casted teams, if you really think about it, because every live event, they always make it, and I always seem to cast them. And I gotta tell you, the eye test on Black Ray tells me that he is incredibly inconsistent. There'll be games where he drops 2 kills and is invisible on very high priority, very high impact rolls. And there'll be times where, well, he stands head and shoulders above the rest. That was on Cafe. What kind of game will he have this time? Sharoniko dies as we hit the 1-way mark, 1-minute mark, and Black Ray will go down as well, and suddenly Furia finds himself with an advantage.
Yeah, not a bad spot at all, but Shurip's still lurking up inside of office. Anaton not far away as well. Just fell off down to the trophy stairs, so he's going to be back towards the site now. Shurip, I believe, has been misdroned. They do not know he's up here. He's going to be in a great spot. How many kills does he get? 0. He had 0 kills. I really thought they didn't know he was there. Based on the outlines I was looking at, they knew. They knew, or they got lucky with the face check. But either way.
It's a nice play by Anaton to keep those numbers as close as humanly possible. He expected one more over on those trophy stairs. He was correct, by the way, and that march will happen, but he'll lose out as he goes over to the kill holes that was made earlier by him, and Furia wins the very first round of their own map.
Great start, and I mean, it comes off of that top floor window play that we know Chalet is so famous for, right? The reason why this map tends to lean more towards the attackers is because it's very difficult for the defense to exist up on the top floor with just how many windows can be opened and how much pressure gets applied just based off that, combined with the fact that it seemed like the rat play roamers didn't really find the success they were looking for, and it's a clean way to win the round if you're a Furia fan. So you'll take that. No problems at all. Cleaning up on the top floor and then converting that downwards. Going to be a 1-0 lead. Since it's Chalet, the attackers are likely to go out to a bit of a lead. Could be a 3-3 half, could be a 4-2. Anything beyond that would be a bit unusual. But bomb site number 2 will be bar end games as we stay on the main floor for these two teams. Again, with Chalet, you really do see a mix of all 4 sites. Different teams will think different bomb sites are better. It's heavily dependent based on what the defensive operator bans are, so no telling where we're going to go in any given round.
Just as they did on Cafe, CAG are looking for a very early pick. No lines to be had, so they fall off instead. I like watching the player reactions.
Yeah.
Black Ray is very expressive. His head moves around an awful lot. I move while I game. A lot of actual players do if you take a look.
Mm-hmm.
Some obviously more severe than others. Just a small point. And now you too might no longer be watching the action. You might just be watching the players down below in the middle of the screen. 2 very quick kills for CAG, by the way. Down goes JV92 and Fell of Hawks, and now KZ will also die. Where was CAG like this in the first round?
Shurip is taking names. Happy to just be alone up on this top floor, swing the windows, take them for granted. Throughout this season of competitive Rainbow Six Siege, no player in the world has gotten more kills than Shurip. Keeps that total going.
What name did you say?
Shurip.
Who just got that kill?
Shurip.
Seems like Furia shoe reaps what they sow. And now, behind the Kiba barrier, Shurip could go for 4. Saw that goo mine pop out. Shurip attempting it, does some damage to Nade, but a Type 89 is a real beast in the hands of a good player. Nade certainly checks that last box. Now he's got to work his way towards the bomb site. Sin can't even get through the little peeky hole. Anaton pops up from around his deployable shield, ropes around Chimney, gets the final pick, and CAG equalizes.
Shurip, coming into this tournament, had 569 kills total in official Blast competition, Tier 1 competition that is, which is more than anybody else. It helps that CAG play a lot of rounds, obviously. I believe they have the 2nd most rounds played of any team in the world, just behind BDS. Don't quote me on that, but I'm pretty sure it's BDS with the most rounds played. And Shurip, as the star fragger on CAG, is the guy that gets the bulk of those kills. Very rare to hit over 500 kills in a season, but Shurip has done it. Chibisu has done it. There's a couple Furia players who actually aren't that far away either. Herds is coming into this series at 429. He can get just 71 kills through the rest of this competition. Then he'll join the 500 club.
I do love that we globally track stats.
It's nice. Good to have a big database.
There are a number somewhere, I remember seeing about SI kills, but I just love to know how many kills in general Nesk has throughout his entire career.
It's difficult legacy stats. Anything before the new stat system was introduced. There are databases that exist, but not the one I'm working with.
Because you just have to manually go through a lot of those matches and add them up.
The old stuff, yeah.
My. Shurip wanted more. He opened up some of that garage wall and was angling for a fight. Doesn't look like there's any damage that was done to Furia, though.
It's just Anaton outside. Not a spawn peek, not a run out. It's just the clash. Enjoying the sunlight, catching some rays.
The beautiful winters of France. They're great this time of year. Clash is very much prepared and dressed for the occasion. JV92 is the first to die. Yet to find a kill here on Chalet. Shiraniko will die shortly thereafter, so teams will trade one back and forth as that's the first minute that's been killed. Still Anaton outside, by the way.
Again, I believe more Clash play than anyone in the world, so knows better than anybody.
You have numbers to back that up.
I can get you how many times he's played it.
I'd love that.
Okay. I gotta scroll to the sheet. Anason's played Clash 44 times this season.
It's a lot.
That's a lot of Clash. Most played Defender.
I mean, if you can make it work with your team, keep doing it.
Yeah. Clash is a great op. Underrated, I would say, by a lot of players.
Anaton only played Clash twice on Chalet, though. That was round 7 and rounds 12. So not relying or even over-relying on the operator. Shureep with yet another. He's on the board for the third round in a row. This Clash is still a huge impediment as they work desperately on the side of Furia to open up the wall into Office. Particular reason why KZ waited that long to kill Black Ray. Sees the back of the mute. Now it's all up to Chibisu and Anaton, who now has to put the shield away and pull out the SMG instead. Takes out Velopox. Numbers looking a little bit better. Chibisu taking out KZ, leaves just Nade alone with Diffuser. Don't think he'll have the wherewithal to deal with this Clash.
This is the worst position to be in Siege.
Just really, it's unfun, is it what it is. It's not a good time. Chibisu just needs to save himself for the next 15 seconds. Don't engage. Don't bother fighting. Try to bide as much time as possible. The Clash will win you the round. You don't want to do anything funny. Don't give Nade any opportunities whatsoever as Nade works his way around the map as if his W key were broken. Just as the round was about to end, Chibisu comes to the rescue, and CAG lead on Furia's map.
All right, clean little start. I was about to say, I mean, again, it's that window play at the top floor of Chalet that's so difficult for the defenders to play around, and we saw Furia getting some picks off that. KZ, of course, in that 3v3, getting them the man advantage, but Anaton, his power with the Clash, I think his experience with the Clash, really comes down to knowing when to pull out the shield and when to pull out the gun. And even on Cafe, you can recall back when he was playing Reading, he knew when it was time to pull out that SMG, get the 1v2 clutch. Again, here, he can pull out the gun, grab that man advantage, put his team into a 2v1, and then he knows, all right, time to pull the shield back out, make it a free win for my teammate. And that experience really does shine through. Of course, the longest standing and oldest member on CAG, their best known player as well for Anaton, and their IGL and captain. Been playing since 2017, and he's been on CAG for most of that time that he's been playing Rainbow Six Siege. Been on CAG for over 6 years, which is insane.
It's quite dedication. I will say, though, the APAC teams don't the regions do, I think.
Yeah.
Key point of that is, number one, the regions themselves are not as large. And number two, it's hard to find good replacements. That's the big thing.
Yeah, I think APAC teams, the problem is like language, right? There's just not that many good players that speak Japanese that they could replace players with on the side of CAG. You see it even in Europe. Like, there's not that many players that speak Russian. So VP don't make very many roster moves.
You know, when I first started casting Rainbow Six, half of the teams in EU Pro League were French, and they all spoke French. Then you had Penta, who spoke a multitude of languages. You had that Snook and Nose team that, you know, formerly was playing Dux. They spoke English as well. You had Ents, who spoke in Finnish. And then, oh my, now I'm forgetting the very last team. Oh, they'll come to me eventually. But the point is that most of these teams calmed in other languages. And slowly but surely, we've seen most EU teams start speaking in English. And they've started to spread out. You've got BDS, a former French team now, speaking in English. G2 obviously still speaking in English. Secret calming in English. All the guys on Virtus Pro, by the way, could speak in English. As we've said this, 3 people in the lobby have died. KZ, the only casualty for Furia, so they come out ahead of these blows. Shureep, the man of the hour, he's gone. Shiraniko is gone as well. That means no more Kiba barriers. That's a great start for Furia in this round.
Yeah, minute 30 off the clock, too. Don't forget about that time. It is a man advantage, but CAG have stalled a bit, and they killed one of the most important players in KZ on that Ram. It's going to make the soft breach a lot more difficult. You do have breaching charges on Philippox, but if you want to use those breaching charges on, careful, on the fireplace floor, it puts you in a bit of a risk. There are 2 Nitro cells being held by CAG. Black Race was already expended. So you're a little bit worried if you do want to go for something like that, but it looks like the game plan is instead going to be wine. A lot of walls still to open up, but they've got a ton of hard breach. 3 of those Selmas on Philippox, and then can openers 2 on JV92. CAG seem very aware of this. So what's the answer going to be? They have a claw, and they're trying to trick that wine wall. The mute jammer might be able to get a free clear her of that Selma charge. I think it will.
Well done by the mute jammer, and that Electric Claw will now be picked back up. Black Ray ascending lobby stairs. Down goes JV92. The advantage that Furia held onto for the last minute is now as good as gone. Electric Claw also removed. That means back portion of Wine is completely opened up. And Hanneton will only have but a pixel to do some damage with the TCSG. Misses his opportunity onto Herds, though Herds is down nonetheless. That means 2 upright for both squads. Not a lot of time left. CAG holding on for dear life. They've got the lead at the moment. They want that lead to continue. Diffuser in the hands of Nade. Finished off by Chibisu, who can't deal with the second as he storms right in. Diffuser going down, and Black Ray lines up and gets both. Oh my God! He didn't win on time. He didn't win because he stopped that plant from going down. He won because he killed them both. What a heroic performance. And CAG's lead grows by 1.
You know, Shuri may be the guy who gets the kills, and Anaton may be the guy that plays the opposite to find the strats. But Black Ray's the guy that saves them in the most important rounds. What a clutch, and not even his first in the series. I'm going to mention it again. Round 12 on Cafe, he had a ridiculous clutch. Got a huge number of kills, a big 3K with some brilliant shots to save map number 1 and make sure it wasn't a 7-5 loss. Now here in round number 4 on Chalet, doing very much the same. A ridiculous 1v2.
JV92's face there told the whole story for Furia. Herds look like he's ready to punch a hole in his monitor.
It's rare to see JV92 without a smile on his face. That guy is always cheerful. Not today, though.
CAG had to use their timeout at the tail end of round number 3, all the way back in map 1. Reason we highlight that? Because it was CAG's map. Now here, on Furia's map, it comes 1 round later, but still an early timeout on your own turf. It's not a good feeling. CAG were able to center themselves after that timeout, though. And Furia do the same. Furia took round number 1, and since then, it's been the Japanese team all the way down.
Furia learning the hard way that CAG are not going to be an easy opponent this Six Invitational. Always capable of taking games off big teams. Just ask BDS. Scary start to this tournament now. 3-1. Plenty of game to be played, though. Still could be a 3-3 half. We talk about Chalet's pretty even, too. But if they start to run away with it, if we get to a 4-2, 5-1, we're starting to get very, very nervous. With the TAC timeout now being called, this has to be the adjustment. This prompted a bit of a comeback. When Furia started to slip in map number 1, the TAC timeout came through from Igor, refocused the team, and they started to win rounds again. Can it happen again? It's a lot earlier, so they can't afford to slip again. If this TAC timeout does not result in a change of pace for Furia, they could be in big trouble.
It's very easy to mentally slip out of this match. One thing that we always talked about when they were W7M, and now that they're Furia, is how you can never give up on them. Because they never gave up on themselves. The greatest example of that is the grand final played on their home soil in Brazil last year. FaZe Clan had them on the ropes. 3 minutes away from elimination and 3 minutes away from FaZe Clan being world champs. Then they were known as W7M. They became world champions through perseverance. They called the timeout. They lose Herds. They almost lose another as Shu Reap is still on this rampage on the top floor. Down goes Philippox, and maybe the idea for Furia was get a bit more aggressive. Maybe take the gunfights to CAG, and guess what? It is not working. Shu Reap with 2 kills on the round before he's punished. CAG outnumbers Furia 2-1. Plenty of time left for the Brazilians to find their footing. Nade with the diffuser, JV92 still killless on this map. That might explain a bit of the frustration we saw in his face too.
I'll tell you what though, Parker. There's not two players in the world I'd rather have in a clutch than JV92 and Nade. I've seen them do some crazy things, but JV92 now forced alone in the 1v4 as a Nitro takes down Nade. And JV92 on a cam. They're stacked up in the hallway. He finds the first, falls off, worried about this camera. Will clear it. Lots of time to work with. Maybe.
Any player I'd trust in this instance, JV92's got to be on that list. Maybe not with the way that he's played to this point. He's the top player on Cafe.
Mm-hmm.
He's just biding his time. CAG showing an incredible amount of patience and a lot of respect. There goes a toxic canister, and JV92 has to worry about blue stairs as well as straight inside of bar. And he gets taken down. The lead for CAG will grow ever larger, 4-1 on this half. Now, again, this is Furia's map. CAG should be starting on the better side, which means things will likely tighten when CAG goes on to attack and Furia become the defenders, but you never really know. This feels a bit different. I don't know if you sense that as well. It feels like CAG have learned. It feels like Furia are right now finding this team under their skin.
Yeah, and that's after the TAC timeout, too. Don't forget, that was the thing that made the turnaround possible for Furia. That's what got them to overtime. I've really got to say it, dude. Shoe Reap is becoming a problem. They've got to find an answer to this. You often see it on Chalet, where the attackers are able to get a big man advantage, top floor, but when Shoe Reap's hitting shots like he has been, it doesn't matter how the angles favor you. He's going to be winning those gunfights more often than not. Currently top fragging in the lobby, 7-5. Not a ridiculous KD ratio, +2, but
value picks.
Yeah.
Taking out the entry players from Furia who have been known to cause so many problems for better teams. And if you can rely on one player to get a kill every single round, that honestly is just a wave of relief over your team. Blackray also having some very big moments. 3 of his 5 kills coming in that last basement defense that CAG won against all odds. Fury have changed some things up.
that's awkward.
Drop it and run. Knew there was one on big window. Shuri pressured in that position, but manages to get away. Ying, Grim, Zenz, Finka, Amaru. This is quite the lineup right now for Furia. JV92 finds the first kill. He trades away quite a bit of his HP, but it's brought back by KZ, who's also having a bad Chalet. He had a bad Cafe. 2 bad performances from the SI MVP.
Good to go.
Candela's going off. B's going off. Could an execute be happening? Nade in the bomb site. Diffuser in hand. He has to peel off of his position. JV92 finds his second, this time on the sheer. And Nico! And Chibisu manages to drop Nade. He's very firmly inside this bomb site. Furia doubled up, and it's all up to Shuri. He was the focus earlier on, but now finds himself above the bomb site, completely empty-handed, and there's no easy path to get back down. Diffuser has not been retrieved yet. A vault down over towards Trophy. His position is spotted. Oh my goodness, what a shot on the Herds. And Shuri manages to get away alive. JB92 did some killing early on. Now he'll grab that Diffuser. Only one watching actively. Fellapox KZ's around the corner. Shuri! You've got to be kidding me. Does he pull it off? One more remains on the bomb chassis case. Far away. JV92 at a rough start. Shuri missing the opportunity. And JV92 is awake, baby.
Far too close for comfort. Far too close for comfort. Shureep, I said he was beginning to be a problem. He is a huge problem at this point. Furia, they avoid the biggest throw of the tournament so far in a single round. Thank God. I'm not even sure Nade had to pull off, going all the way back to start a round. That should have been so clean. If Nade just finished the plant, of course, Amaru'd up the hatch, had the Sens wall to stop it. I think he heard the rip of a C4, maybe? Could have been why he pulled off that one. If he plants down, that's free in the round. It should have been free anyways. It was a 1v4, but eventually, JV92, we hyped up how good he was in the clutch. It wasn't good enough for the 1v4 himself, but it was good enough to deny the 1v1. Consistently, he's been extremely good in that clutch. It's the position he's known for. Usually more so on defense, where he likes to play some of those anchor roles, but he can get it done on attack just the same. And now we need Furia to just, like, lower that heart rate a little bit. They've managed to get 2 attacks on Chalet. You know, you'd like a few more, to be honest, but they got the job done. It's far better than a 5-1. That round didn't descend into disaster like it could have, so walk back in. You're on defense now. Are they going for any sort of a spawn peek, any sort of an aggressive play? There's only 1 Nitro. I don't think it's getting used. Spawn peeks are common on Chalet, but I don't see any happening at this point. Moments passed.
That round might be all it takes for Furia to find some confidence and prepare for this next half. They'll ride out the supposed easier side on Chalet. Don't necessarily know if JV92 Sens was the real reason for a lot of that success. I mean, in regards to the operator and the way that Sens functions, but maybe something to this. As Shuri, 10 kills, the most in the lobby, has now picked up the operator. Sens did get a buff. You mentioned this in our earlier matchup, and it does bear repeating. Can't see through it with a Warden anymore. You can't see through it with bulletproof cameras. That Sens wall, well, it's a pain now. You just need to check it. Still destroy it with impacts and all that, but I mean, you got to actually take the engagement head on.
That Sens buff is huge. In almost any other patch, it would have been like the biggest buff to any operator. Now, it came with the Blackbeard buff, so it's not the biggest buff of the patch, but it's very, very close. A lot of pros love this off now that it's gained this extra utility of countering the Warden.
Down goes KZ. 2-7 for KZ. On his roll is just not good enough. Fury answers back with a Nitro Cell, blowing up Shiraniko, and there goes the sledge. Finding yourself in harm's way with that sledgehammer is an all too familiar feeling for people who play that off. Now it's Shuri taking a needless fight over towards Mudroom, and JV92 will run out, super shorty in hand, collect the kill, and get back in. That is a huge boon for Furia. They'll play with a lot more confidence knowing the raid boss on the side of CAG has been taken care of. Chibisu answers back. JV92 will be punished for his crimes. Don't forget Black Ray, too, who was very, very good on Cafe and hasn't had the same opportunity to shine, but could still very much keep pace with this Furia team. A wraparound now towards blue as Chibisu sees one, pulls trigger a bit too early. The Castle of Herds will get away. A flash goes out as Chibisu tries again. He'll swing over towards Snowmobile. The Castle's down there, and this is not an engagement Chibisu wants. Black Ray comes to the rescue. 2 players remain for Furia. Bomb site on that main floor. Falapox and Nade are nestled in quite nicely there. Match being watched by the Mozzie. He's behind the bar. Nade will be watched intently as he's the last man standing in back bar. And Black Ray and Chibisu rise to the occasion, Jesse. CAG on 5 rounds now. 2 away from what would be the most startling result of today.
Great teamwork. I mean, you've got to admire that from CAG in the 3v3. They knew Herds was down below. Wasn't flawless, maybe flashed himself, a little awkward, but what did he do? He found out the position of this last player, right? He swung the doorway, saw that he's behind the snowmobile itself. And then does he take that fight? No. Calls to his teammate, says, listen, Black Ray, if you walk down these snow stairs, you get a free pick on the Herds. And Black Ray said, yes, sir. I'll eat that up. I'll take that free pick. And he does just that. Then they walk into site 3v2. The intel is perfect. They're walking together. Even if they hadn't hit those shots, the trades would have been there. You saw that when it came out onto Nade. Yes, he got one, but it didn't matter because the trades were so strong from CAG. They're playing as a team. They're playing as a unit. You know, and that's really something that you don't often see from some of these younger APAC squads that come to these big events. But when it comes to Cyclops, they've been a team for so long. That's never been one of their weak points. They're good at playing together, and sometimes when you criticize CAG, it's because they fall apart. They let the emotions get to them. They fumble in the big, important games. They famously lost a BO1 to Team 1 in Mexico with the exact scoreline that was needed to force a tiebreaker match, which they then lost, and Team 1 went on to win that event, giving Alamau his first trophy. But that mental, I mean, it doesn't seem to be a problem. They're laughing, having a good time, and why wouldn't they be? They're up 1-0 in series and 5-2 in the map to Furia.
I wouldn't necessarily read into that too much. I don't want to play devil's advocate here, but even when they are staring down... Would you say no?
But you're going to.
Of course I am. Would you not like to take the point that I made away from me and steal all the joy in my life?
Finish your point.
You did not answer. I noticed that. I will note that for later. CAG are laughing and smiling even when they're on the verge of going home. This is a team that is not bogged down by expectations or really emotions. They just play their game, and a lot of times they give off vibes like they're just happy to be here. Black Ray dies early. Now it's Anaton dealing some serious damage towards Herds. That's quite the sensitivity. He now sees Sentry of KZ. JV92 finished off. Know that another one's over towards Trophy. It's the Legion of Nade. KZ unloading his commando. He'll have to go for a reload. KZ has looked very mortal so far in this series. Shurip got a kill amidst the madness, by the way, and now sits on 11. He's just stat padding at this point. It's a drop from Nade. Shurip gets one. How about another? Oh my god, 13 kills. KZ with 1/6 of that, and he marches down main stairs. They've lost control of their own bomb site. Half of the round still to go. Anaton with Diffuser, but look at this. They have no idea where KZ is. They've actually vacated the bomb site at this point. KZ looks to be alone inside of it.
They've got so many drones, though. Like, they got time, they got drones, they got kit. They're just going to take their time, find KZ. They don't have to take a risk.
Mando doesn't have a lot of bullets to take multiple engagements either, Jesse, so it seems likely that a single kill, and that'll be all she wrote for KZ. He assesses that smoke. Down goes the Twitch, and what did I say? A single kill, and that's all she wrote. JVC with the final kill. CAG on match point.
I have to ask the question, is Shurip using the same F2 that I'm using? When I'm playing that gun in ranked, it has far more recoil than what Shurip is using. I'm just saying, some would call it recoil control. But it feels like we're using different guns.
Well, that's because you're dog meat at the game. What is your rank in this game?
We don't have to dive into
What is your
the
rank?
specifics.
Tell me your rank.
Right now I'm gold.
That's better than I thought.
I actually played a lot of Siege this season.
That's better than I thought you'd be. And you've never invited me once.
No. I usually play with Flynn, to be honest. Played a lot with Flynn this season.
Are you okay? Is this a cry for help? Is this a cry for help? I've been spending a lot of time with Flynn. We'll talk about your problems later.
Yeah. Maybe I should spend more time with Shurip. Get better at the game, learn.
I feel like there would be a ping and language barrier.
I think we'd be friends. I think we could hang out.
Are you okay? Like, you're saying a lot of things that make me think you're lonely, desperate.
I give great
You're hanging out with the bridge troll.
Shurip
that lives in a semi-flooded basement.
You mean Flynn?
Yeah, I'm talking about Flynn.
I thought you were just Shurip for a moment there, my best friend.
This has been quite a stunning result. I honestly thought we were going to go deep into the night. We still might, by the way. It's entirely possible that Furia holds off CAG, and this is the moment that the Japanese team crumbles, but I mean, Hanson's been loving this Blackbeard role. He's going to ride it until it stops being successful. The one thing I've noticed the most about these CAG attacks is they have caught Furia off guard with their briskness. Now, Furia tried that when they brought the Amaru and a bunch of early ops, as you want to call them. The Finka as well was included in that. And time again, Furia seemed to get an early pick, but then were answered back, in large part because of Shuri. Shuri did exactly what they were trying to do on attack. Down goes Shiraniko. Down goes the Grim. Down goes the Bees. 1 minute into the round, and Furia have a lead. CAG will sit pretty for the next 12 minutes or so. They've got a lot of ground that Furia will need to take away from them before they can start to get worried. Nate actually gets away. Chibisu dies because of it. Anaton's just not quick enough on the draw. And immediately Furia have fallen off of this position. I love what Furia have done.
One of the downsides of Blackbeard, he's a strong operator, not going to deny that, but he has weaknesses, and how long it takes to pull out his weapon is absolutely one of them. Costs him a kill in this round. Any other op probably would have gotten that. 3v5 though, and he's still got this opportunity to gain a lot of intel without exposing himself. strengths of the Blackbeard can be shown right now.
Nice shot on the Herds. JB92 falls as well. In terms of HP, it benefits Furia for the time being, but it's close on both sides. Everybody wounded except for Black Ray in this server.
KZ's flanking. Off floor.
Shurip's going to be hot on the heels of Nade, by the way. Nade was down below. And Shurip entered. He will get the kill. 14 for Shurip. Telepox, ghost of former past. Very, very limited HP.
He's made noise. He's got to leave.
KZ's last live, 40 seconds to go. CAG are going to get this done, Jesse, unless they absolutely bottle it. This would be a historic flop for CAG as KZ held off the scoreboard round after round after round. Will have to clutch out with 3. He sees the Blackbeard softening up the shield, but it's a hopeless attempt as he charges towards the diffuser, and all CAG needs to do is wait. The Caggers get it done. 7-2 on Furia's map and a 2-0 for CAG. What a result.
If you didn't know it before, you know it now. Boston is going to be a great event. The Six Invitational just getting started, and CAG pulling off the upset of the group stage, at least so far. We got plenty more days to go, but what a beginning. CAG, everybody thought they were getting grouped, and I mean everybody thought they were going to get grouped. In the group of death, the team that eternally finishes last. Plenty more siege to play, but my God, taking down the world champions, you can't make much more of a statement, and they do it in 2 maps. That means they get 4 full points, Parker, which means at the end of the day, they will be sitting first in the group.
Huge for CAG, and what a stunning performance. Let's break down this impressive victory after the break.